All right, what are we talking about today?
Well, we got a lot going on. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Red 5 standing by.
I am Iron Man.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. I am Groot.
Hello there.
Yes, I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
If you step out that door, you are an Avenger.
That's what we call ourselves. Sort of like a team. Earth's mightiest heroes type thing.
Superhero landing. She gonna do a superhero landing. Wait for it!
I could do this all day.
All right, folks, welcome back to Movie Punditry. I am Mr. Randell. I'm joined by
Mr. Mike.
and glad to have you listening to us. It's been a while. How have you been, Mike?
Good. We should probably point out. I don't think we ever made this announcement that.
Oh no, we didn't.
For season 2 here in 2020, we're going to be going every other week.
Yeah.
We were just trying to squeeze too much in to a weekly show, and one, it's a lot of stuff going on in our lives right now, so it's a little tough. But also, we want to make sure that we have stuff to talk about. And sometimes we were kind of stretching a little thin, so I think we'd rather take the chance and maybe missing something or talking about something a little after the fact, like the Oscars, but rather than put up weak content.
Yes, because there's a lot of changes in our lives. But let's start with the Oscars. You are a huge fan. I kind of watched it like I watched football the past couple of years through Twitter. How was the show?
The show was okay. It was the second year they went without a host, trying to avoid controversy of any host that they would pick.
Now wait, okay, now I'm thinking of the Grammys because they had Alicia Keys and that was horrible. How do you feel about this no host thing? It was horrendous.
It was, it was okay last year. But I think it was, fine last year given the climate. But I think they really need to go back to a host, because what happens is you wind up, if something kind of goes off the rails a little bit, you need somebody to get out there and pull it back down. Uh-huh. And they don't have that. The other thing is you wind up with people coming up simply to introduce the people who are coming up to introduce the award. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's dumb.
Yes. So you get a big celebrity who comes up and says, ladies and gentlemen, so-and-so, and then so-and-so comes up and actually presents the award.
Yeah, that's not good. So you said they don't want to offend anybody. Or you think they're afraid of getting tweeted at by the president?
I don't think they're worried about that. I think they're worried about, the propensity of the internet to completely and thoroughly vet and then eviscerate anybody. So, they pick a host, and everybody goes back to, pulls a tweet from, 2009, and immediately there's outrage. So, I think celebrities are sitting there, especially comics are sitting there going, what do I need that for?
Yeah.
And, I think the Academy was kind of a little gun shy about it, but I think they need a host. They need someone, like I said, to just kind of direct things and just kind of put it back on track when it kind of goes off track a little bit, and to eliminate this ridiculous, celebrities introducing awards thing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. What are your highlights from the show?
Well, I think everybody's highlight and the big surprise was, and obviously the big winner of the night is Parasite and Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho, who had kind of famously derided the Oscars a couple of weeks ago, saying that, oh, they're local awards, assuming that he wasn't going to win anything. And then he takes home, personally, he takes home 4 Oscars, is kind of the story of the year when it comes to award season, but deservedly so. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I actually started watching it the other day, and then I got pulled away, and I haven't gotten back to it. But from what I'm hearing about it in the first few minutes that I watched, it seems to be interesting and creative, and I like Bong Joon-ho. I love Snowpiercer. I thought it was a great movie. So
that's a really good movie.
And I watched 1917. It's good. It's outstanding in certain areas, but it's kind of a one-trick pony in that it's got this. The conceit in the movie is that it looks like it's done in one long shot, and it's a masterstroke in cinematography and editing. If you take that away from it, it's an okay movie.
So this is it a good story or is it it's okay story?
It's an okay story. Okay. The way it's done, and the tension that the way it's filmed with this one shot, adds a lot to it. But I can see why it didn't win Best Picture.
Okay. All right. And so Hair Love. Have you seen Hair Love?
Have I seen what?
Hair Love.
I haven't seen any of the shorts.
Okay, so I had been following Matthew Cherry on Twitter for a while now. He had a brief stint in the NFL, got into making films and directing. He actually has done a couple episodes of Blackish, Mixedish, and he had talked about doing a Kickstarter for the book. So he wrote the book, and then a few years ago I saw him like reaching out like, hey, are there any like 3D animators out there? And I had read the book before I had seen the short. And then I saw the short maybe like 2 weeks before the Oscars. And I'm like, this is really, really good and sad at the same time. So I'm very happy for him that he won that. And hopefully, it leads to bigger, better things. And like, it's a really inspirational story because you think someone that would like have a brief stint in the NFL, you think about athletes and how they spend their whole life working towards this thing. He was able to take that frustration and direct that energy into something very productive. So I'm definitely proud of him, and I'm looking forward to the work that he continues to do. Are you surprised that I think was Toy Story up for an Oscar?
No.
Oh, they weren't? Okay.
I don't think we're surprised at that at all.
All right.
It's Tom Hanks, who's, front and center king of the Oscars this year. It's Toy Story. It's the last Toy Story. It's a 20-year journey. And it's better than the other animated films. I mean, it's such a monumental accomplishment, this whole thing. And I think it's really celebrating all of it. I'm not surprised at all that it won.
Okay. Anything else stand out? Like, because I don't have much to say on it because I didn't see it.
No, I'm really, glad that Ford versus Ferrari kind of got the love that it got.
Yeah.
Not only did it win editing, which I called, folks, but it also won sound design, which it definitely deserved. And Joker did what Joker was going to do.
You expected that?
What's that?
Did you expect that?
Yeah. I figured it. Obviously, we knew Joaquin Phoenix was going to win. Mm-hmm. And I figured it was a long shot for Best Picture. I figured that Hilda would win for original score. The score is breathtaking. It's really, really great. So I mean that did what it was going to do. Everything else I think kind of fell into, into where it goes. I think the only thing that really disappointed me, but I'm not surprised at it, is visual effects, 1917 won, and that's fine. But I think there were better pictures, especially The Lion King. I think what Favreau and his crew did with that movie is amazing. And we've talked about it. I've got my problems with the film, but the environments that he created out of nothing, out of zeros and ones and polygons, is incredible. And I just think people don't know what to do with it. It's it should have been it should have been nominated for an animated film. It should have been nominated. Where do you put it's like the problem they have with motion capture. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with this type of film. But I really think it should have won visual effects because it was incredible, and visually it was an incredible movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get what their criteria is. It seems like they're kind of
nobody does
slow to catch up on things. And ratings are down this year, right?
Ratings are down 20% from last year, which were down from the year before.
Do you think people are starting to care less and less about this thing?
I think people are starting to care less and less about the show. One of the things, it's really long. People love seeing the celebrity. People, the red carpet does well.
Yeah,
people love seeing the celebrities. But I think, like for instance, they spend all this time in the show highlighting the songs.
Yeah,
and honestly, when you walk out of a movie, is that what you're thinking of? How much? A song is 3 minutes. How much of a movie, you know what I'm saying, is the song worth? And that they devote, they play all the songs. They have a live performance of all the songs. So that's at least 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That they do of all the songs, which is to me such a small part of the film compared to the directing and the cinematography and the acting and all the other stuff that goes on. They do all these technical awards off screen, and they always miss people in the memoriam because they're cut. They only have a limited amount of time to do it, and yet they spend all this time on the music, on the songs, and I think that's an opportunity for them to cut it. Although I really did enjoy at least one of the performances they did. They did the song from Frozen. The new
Into
song,
the Unknown, that my son will not stop singing.
But what they did was they had, not only Idina Menzel, but they had like all the women who sang it internationally.
Oh, that's cool.
And they all sang it together and like traded off verses and traded off phrases and things like that. So they would go, to like Japanese and Chinese and Polish and Russian and Spanish and Castilian, and that part was really, really cool. But I think they just spend too much time on that. And I'm a musician, I love music, but I still think they spend too much time on that for a movie show. Sing the Grammys. This is the Oscars. Do a little montage of the songs, move along, like they do with the scores. The scores of the entire movie, and they play like a 30-second snippet of every score.
There's other things you can do. I can go on, Spotify or Apple Music and listen to that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a wrap up for the Oscars. Anything you want to touch on before we move on?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think that about does it.
So, what was this? Was it Saturday? Then we got the first look at the suit.
At the bat suit.
Yeah.
We did get the first look at the bat suit.
A
very shadowy, very red, very am I really going to show it to you version, although instantly there were, color corrected and contrasted and, high high visibility versions of it that were captured and edited and put back online so people could digest it.
So for me, the first thing that stood out was the music, which was, and I can still recall most of the Batman music. That might have been the most eerie and haunting. I mean, if that's even going to be in the film, but if it is,
Yeah,
that's the
and
most eerie and haunting thing I've
it
seen
was, but
associated.
to me it was actually kind of
Oh, I liked it.
it was actually kind of reminiscent of Danny Elfman's score for the first film.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was very kind of haunting.
Oh, he did the first film?
Danny Elfman did the first
So
film.
here's the thing. I didn't know who this guy was until 50 Shades of Grey came out, and I had to watch with my wife. I hated the score for that movie. So anytime I see his name, I just associate like, oh, he's horrible. I didn't know he did the first film.
Yeah, he did the first Batman.
Okay, so I guess I have to give him some props.
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, everybody gets to make a bad movie.
There were 3 50
and
Shades of Grey movies.
I think we just kind of hated those. I mean, I've never seen them, but I think we just kind of. But I mean, Danny Elfman. I mean, Danny Elfman did Batman. He did The Nightmare Before Christmas. He did Beetlejuice. He did. He's done some big stuff.
So how did he end up
he
on
did Men
50
in
Shades
Black.
of
He
Grey?
did Scrooge. He did Planet of the Apes. He's done some good stuff.
They must just give him a really good check, and he was like, "Okay, I'll just do it."
Probably.
Okay, yeah, the music was phenomenal, and I hope that's what we get in the film. I like the suit. I saw the mask threw me off a bit, but I literally have no complaints about that suit. I mean, we haven't seen the gauntlets. Don't know what the pants, the lower body is going to look like, but from what I saw, it looks like the suit from the last Arkham Knight game.
Yeah. Oh, and I just looked up. Michael Giacchino is actually doing the music for the film, and he is one of my favorite composers working today. So,
what has he done? What might I know?
He did Rogue One. He did Doctor Strange. He did what else did he did? He did Zootopia. He did the TV show Lost.
Okay.
He did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He's done some really fantastic stuff. I really like his stuff. So
okay,
that's another one in the plus column for me on this one.
Yeah, the suit looks great.
Yeah, and Pattinson. I mean, we only saw his jaw, but he's got a jaw. So
I think he's gonna be. I'm fearful about how thin the man's gonna be. And granted, Bale wasn't some like monstrous guy, but he got pretty big, and it looks like from all the reports I read, this guy's having trouble adding weight.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, look what Christian Bale did. You get the right trainer, you get the right workout, you get the right guys,
you get the right steroids.
Working. I mean, look what Affleck did. Affleck was pretty large.
But he's naturally a big guy.
Yeah, but he's also been a small guy. Look at some of his older movies. He wasn't always a big guy. He's big framed, but he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't solid like he was in BVS.
Pattinson just looks like one of these hard gainer guys. It's no matter what he does, how much he eats, it's just going to be hard for him to have on size. And I mean, I guess you give him the right suit, he'll be okay. As long as they just give me better fight scenes than I got in the Dark Knight trilogy, and I'll be happy. And so,
yeah, I agree with that. There wasn't any really fantastic fights in that.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah.
Which I'll say this in the review for our next episode. The fight scenes in Birds of Prey were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Somebody at DC knows what they're doing. I guess everybody outside of Chris Nolan knows what they're doing in the fight scene when it comes to their films. Yeah, so I guess that's it for the suit.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it the other day about what the suit is. Especially that chest piece. Because it certainly looks mechanical.
Yes.
To some degree, and possibly, there's speculation that it's guns, and Kevin Smith. We were talking about this. Kevin Smith had done a comic, and that he wrote, and one of the things in it was that Bruce had hunted down the gun that killed his parents, and then had it. He melted it down and made a bulletproof chest piece for his suit out of it. And so it's possible that they're kind of going this, that they're taking that idea and kind of working with it, and because it does look like two halves of a gun in that chest piece.
And I would like that if they do that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I just hope they don't do. I saw a video, and I don't know if it was a fan video. I don't know what it was, but it was like the parts were moving, and I just hope they don't do like this, like kind of Iron Man thing with the suit, forming itself.
In Arkham Knight, the suit doesn't. I forget the whole story, but there's this like thing where the suit has some mechanized parts because of the way the Batmobile is now, which allows them to do like a self-eject thing, where like the suit it kind of connects to the seat. So that was the story behind it having like some mechanized parts in the back, and that's why it looked the way it did. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna go that far, but if you give me like where it's not totally mechanized, but you give me a reason why it's like that, and if it does have to do with the Batmobile, I can take that.
That's fine. But if it turns out to be like an Iron Man suit or Spider-Man suit, where it's just like he thinks about,
where it's gonna be a problem.
It's in his watch, and all of a sudden he's in his bat suit. I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah, then you just some nonsense all over again. But
that would be huge nonsense.
Yeah, I am excited. Also, just want to get to this. So I finally saw Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom today. Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The movie's really good. Like, that movie's really good.
Maybe I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't sound too enthusiastic.
I recall not being a huge fan of that. Is that the one where where the nephew or whatever, they've got the house with the
caretaker, the estate,
auction in the basement?
Yeah,
and they're auctioning off the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I could see how you would not like that.
Okay, well, at least you know me well enough to know.
Yeah. Also, so Birds of Prey does Jack Squad. Well, it doesn't say Jack Squad. It doesn't do well, and then Sonic totally kills it at the box office.
Yeah. There's a couple of things at the box office this week. One is Sonic. Where the heck did that come from? $58 million is pretty respectable for an opening weekend domestic, and it made $113 million worldwide on an $85 million budget in its first weekend.
That's really good.
Pretty impressive. I think people need to be pretty happy with that. That is a really good. That's a really good start for it, and I think Birds of Prey. I mean, Birds of Prey been out a couple of weeks, right? 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And it's only at 145 million, so it's shall we say it's underperforming.
You think this thing gets a sequel?
I don't know. Not if it depends on the legs that it has and how far it goes. I mean, if it kind of stays fairly steady, it doesn't drop off too much. It winds up doing 400 or 500 million, maybe. It wasn't that expensive to make. $85 million to make it. It's not hugely expensive. It's not a $200 million movie.
The marketing must have been cheap because I didn't see a lot of commercials.
Right, there wasn't. There was a lot of billboards, and there was a lot. I mean, if you went around Manhattan, like week of Comic-Con, it was all over Manhattan. And I think they kind of blew their load a little bit there, maybe too much, and and we're trying to get that. And I don't know what it was like in San Diego or at the other cons, but I think they hit the cons really hard this year rather than go for general audiences, which could have been a mistake. Who
Yeah,
knows?
big time.
But the other one that I actually kind of want to talk about that surprised me is Fantasy Island. Because it did, it opened up this weekend. It really hasn't had a lot in the way of marketing.
Mhm.
And it opened up to $12 million domestically.
What?
And I think it's made $21 million worldwide over the weekend. But this thing only cost $7 million to make.
Who went and saw that?
Apparently a bunch of people. So, and it's a suspense, horror suspense film. It's definitely got its audience. And, but, they make these things cheap, $7 million, and it's got Michael Pena in it. And,
that's where all the money went.
And it made 3 times its budget back in its opening weekend.
And then you end up with a franchise like Saw. This is what happens.
I am just waiting for the horror thriller version of The Love Boat. I'm there for
Oh, no. So,
Captain Stew psychopath.
Do you have any interest in this remake of The Invisible Man?
Oh, I don't. I can't say I don't. Does that make sense?
Do you remember how I said
Elizabeth Moss in it? Yeah. Because it's such an interesting premise. And
exactly.
It's an interesting character, but like I think back to like The Hollow Man, and I'm like, oh, that was pretty bad. But it could be good, and I actually kind of like the trailer.
Yeah.
So maybe.
So remember I talked about if it's got time travel in it, I'm there.
Yeah.
You start turning people invisible, I am there, and I don't like horror.
That could work.
You turn people invisible, I'm there. I'm going to be there. Can't help it. It's part of my creed.
Speaking of Creed, I actually just watched Creed 2. I haven't even seen it.
You just watched it?
I just saw it.
I like it a lot.
I literally just finished watching it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It was a slow start.
Like
the first 20 minutes or so, I was kind of like, I don't know about this movie. But then it kind of picked up. It was like super predictable.
Yeah, of course.
It was like Rocky IV, basically. Like beat for beat, almost like Rocky IV. But they worked it out. The fight scenes were great. Even without Coogler directing it, it was put together pretty well. I thought that Stallone was good in it. Yeah, I liked it.
So it's funny. You said you just saw Creed. I watched Rocky Balboa today, and it was funny. I see, because as I'm watching this, I'm like, how did we end up with a Creed? And I'm watching this movie like, oh, I see how we ended up with a Creed. This movie was horrendous. It was like the fan service from The Rise of Skywalker, but times 100. Like even the credit. Do you ever watch the credits?
I don't know if I.
So the credits for this movie are just regular, random Philadelphia citizens running up and down the steps.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes.
And I'm sitting there watching this thing like, this is bad. This is real bad. It's just, I don't know. It was just a weird day. Like I just sat around watching. I got the chance to just sit around and watch a bunch of movies. Like I watched Rocky Balboa. I watched Godzilla King of Monsters, which wasn't bad. Too many humans and not enough monsters.
I actually kind of liked. I actually kind of liked that movie.
I do. I just wish there was less humans in it. And
you like what?
Less humans. Just give me more monsters. I don't know what people don't understand. Like, if you're gonna give me a monster movie, give me all the monsters I can get and less humans.
Yeah, there were a ton of monsters in that movie.
No, just the whole movie. I don't need to hear people. And then
that's one way to do it.
I watched the AI or that Steven Spielberg film, which
wow, that's an old one.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff I did not see coming.
That was the one that Kubrick started, and then Kubrick died, and Spielberg finished it.
Yeah, really, really, really weird and sort of predictable. That robot thing was creepy too, with it imprinting on the mom.
It is, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, today it was a weird day. I just got to watch a bunch of different stuff. And then I've been, I've also got back into my comic books. I remember last time we were together, we talked about what DC was doing, and then the Marvel The End. So I was able to pick up the Captain America version, and his is pretty cool because it finds himself in like this post-apocalyptic world where instead of zombies, they have a bunch of Red Skulls. There was like this Red Skull virus, and people turn into Red Skull, and he's fighting them off. And then he comes to this realization, which I know they took from a zombie movie, but I just can't remember which one, where like there's so many zombies. He's like, you know what? I'm the problem. I'm the enemy. If I just, give myself up, then everything will be fine. But then he finds some human survivors, and one of the humans needs a blood transfusion. They take Cap's blood and gives it to the person, and they realize that his blood can cure the zombies. So they eventually like beat up back enough of them that they can set up a base, and they just start making like these cures out of Cap's blood. So it was pretty cool. And then the art was like some really early like Marvel 1970 styles artwork. It was pretty good. And I think the last one is going to be like a Venom The End, and there's I think a Loki one, and then they'll be wrapped up on that series. But yeah, there's some pretty good stuff going on in the books right now.
Yeah, that sounds that's pretty interesting.
What have you been up to? What have you been watching?
I've been I started watching this. Well, we got the last season of Homeland started, which is really good. The last season of Man in the High Castle, I've started watching. I think Altered Carbon either dropped or is dropping this week, because so I'm gonna have to jump into that. So a couple of things going on that I've been watching.
Yeah,
still trying to finish up sorting up the house, but I think we're pretty settled in with that. So I'm going to need to find something to watch.
I added some stuff to my Netflix queue. I can't remember exactly what cannot remember the name, but it's like some French series that's dubbed where this guy loses his girlfriend, and then she comes back, but he gets his box dropped off at his house, and then when he enters the box, he can go back in time.
Oh, wow.
But nobody believes him. So he starts going back and changing things, and then he goes forward and tells me, look, I did this, or he'll tell him, I'm going to go do something and change it. And then in the preview, there's also I guess something goes wrong. He tries to get rid of the box and find out who actually gave it to him. So I'm going to jump into that tomorrow.
Oh, I've also been watching the second season of Narcos Mexico, which is fantastic.
Now, was that a spinoff of the regular series?
Yeah. So there was the original series was Narcos, which I think was 3 seasons, and it focused on mainly on Colombia.
Yeah.
In the late 70s, early 80s, the first 2 seasons kind of focused on Pablo Escobar. And then the third season focused on one of the other on the Cali cartel. And then Narcos Mexico focuses on the Sinaloa cartel. Which was kind of going on at the same time. So it's really well done. Diego Luna is the star of it, and he's really fantastic in it, and I really enjoy it. So they just dropped the second season last week, and Scoot McNairy is in it. He plays he's like the DEA lead. In this one, Michael Pena was the guy in the first season, but he got it, and it's kind of loosely based on true you know, true events.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people in it are based on real characters. So for instance, Michael Pena played a guy, Kiki Camarena, who was a DEA agent who actually got killed
Yeah.
by the cartel. Diego Luna, he plays kind of the head of the Sinaloa cartel, who is Felix Gallardo. Gallardo is his name. So, and it's kind of his whole journey through the whole thing, and how he builds up, the cartel, how he kind of unites all the different groups in Mexico, but how he's still battling against like the Colombians and their dominance and stuff. It's really interesting. Like the first season was all about like how he kind of got into the business with marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of it, it was like how he started stepping into cocaine, and now like this season is more of the cocaine. So it's really kind of cool.
Nice.
But it's really well done. It's really well acted. It's great music in it, and it's just Narcos has been from the beginning has been really fantastic.
Okay, so before we get out of here, we have to discuss the Fast 9 trailer.
Do we though?
I think they're trolling people at this point. Like, I think they heard everybody's load, like, oh, now they're the Avengers and all these jokes after Fast 8. And they're like, we're just going to do everything that you like. I would have never thought that they would take a car and swing from a vine like Tarzan with the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
they did.
That someone would throw it, and it looks like, and I hope I'm wrong, but someone throws a car at Dom and he catches it.
Yeah, well, he's not going to let The Rock outdo him in his own franchise, is he?
Oh, and then John Cena is his brother.
His evil brother.
Evil brother. He's a stunt racer, a spy,
something like that.
A traffic. Where did these dudes get the time to get all these skills and abilities? Because when they were driving Honda Civics and jacking up 18-wheelers, not once did it ever look like they were this skilled.
Nope. They were pulling back.
I need like a Fast prequel to explain all this stuff to me. Like, I need to see what Dom was doing in high school and whatever he did after high school. And how does he have this military maneuver background capabilities? It's insane.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, street racing and boosting cars is not going to give him the skill set that he has. And
that's what I wish they'd go back to.
Right. Like they kind of, it looked like they were going to go into it in 7 or 8. I think it was in 8, right? Where they went back to the house and like, he was talking about his father and the things that his father used to do and stuff. And I thought maybe they were going to kind of push into that, but then they wound up doing nothing with it.
No, then they got where they have like a tank on ice.
Yeah, and in the submarine or whatever. And, yeah. So, so I don't know how this is gonna. I mean, I can't even take these things seriously, but they're kind of running back into the pool a little bit. They've got, Lucas Black is in this one. Little Bow Wow is in this one. So they're going back to the Tokyo Drift. Obviously, Han is back somehow.
The same way the Emperor came back. The exact the dead speak.
You can bring back Han Solo. If you can bring back Han Solo, you can bring back Han Solo.
When I saw that part of the trailer, I'm like, oh, you guys just don't care anymore now.
I think they stopped caring after like 5.
Yeah. When Letty came back to life.
Exactly.
Speak. Wow. Like, I don't think I'll be there day one. I'll probably go on a Tuesday at like 10 in the morning when there's nobody else there.
Like I will definitely go see it. They're worth seeing, and they're definitely worth seeing in the theater for all the noise and spectacle and ridiculousness.
like I just want them to go back to just racing like Honda Civics and Acura Integras and Mustangs on the street, not in Brazil on a one lane cliff dirt road. Or maybe, you know what? That 600 Ground thing on Netflix. Have you watched that?
Yes.
Is that essentially the same thing as Fast and the Furious?
Yeah, it's like a knockoff version of that.
I think I'll watch that tonight. That'll make me feel better. Anything before we get out of here?
I don't know if you saw the news, but apparently they've added to Mandalorian season 2
Sasha Banks, WWE.
Sasha Banks. I don't know what that's going to be, but
whenever I see a WWE superstar get a role in anything that's like mainstream media, I get happy because that is Vince's worst nightmare. He does not want another Rock, John Cena situation. Like, he is terrified of these people becoming mainstream stars and leaving him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They definitely do not need Vince McMahon at that point. You know, the Rock can buy and sell Vince McMahon like 7 times over.
There's a podcast I listened to, and it was a great story, and I didn't know this, but when The Rock was taking roles like the Tooth Fairy and the role in Get Smart, Vince was actually calling him up like, don't take these roles. You're making my Rock character that I have for you in WWE look bad. And then The Rock just stopped picking up his phone calls for a while.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like,
and then Vince was begging him to come back.
Begging him to come back. Like, who do you think you are to tell me what roles I'm going to take?
Exactly.
Nuts.
Besides, the mouse has got more juice than Vince McMahon.
Oh, way more juice. And that man is still I tell you, we're not getting a Black Adam. He's dying to get into a Marvel film.
Yeah, but all those terrible movies that he did, the Tooth Fairy and Game Plan and all that, those were like that Disney contract that he had to do, and he had to do, Witch Mountain or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, oof. All right, anything before we get out of here?
No, man, I think we're good for now.
Okay, folks, we will be back in not next week, the week after.
2 weeks.
And for me, Randell Burns, peace. Mr. Mike.
This is Mike Mahoney.
Take it easy, folks.
Later.